All right, well, I'm back. I managed to get that last one uploaded. Made sure I had the bottom of this thing cleaned out. And we're gonna drop this top end on real quick. There we go. Believe it or not, this saw was actually pretty nasty. Whenever I finally got it tore down, it looked pretty clean from the outside, but personally, I like to put a little bit of Durco in the seal pockets myself as well. I feel like that does a little bit better in my humble opinion. But if you don't like to do that, you do you. I would recommend it though. By the way, if you ever hear this thing clicking whenever I'm assembling, this is not an impact. This is a screw gun. So if you hear it whenever I'm screwing screws in and you hear the so it is not an impact, it's literally just a screw gun. Probably not going to do a whole lot of talking through this section, and like I said, I'm going to see if I can basically speed run it. There it went, finally. If I leave any of this in, this right here is one of the little things I don't like about the 271, 291. That right there. That freaking kill switch wire is just a pain in the neck to get in and out. Once again, for this one, I will try to include what the torque spec was for the flywheel nut. I don't know if that's still an issue, but I've got some access to manuals, and I remember that used to be something that was always a pain in the neck for me, was finding the torque specs for the flywheel nut torques. Got that on the first try. It almost never happens. Just see, there we go. All right, I may have to run and grab a charger here in just a second, so I may pause you for a minute. Other than that, how's that going there? Yeah, just like that right there. Before we get a battery charger, let's get this new brake flag on. All right, now once you get to right about there, give or take, you have to reach in and pull down on the cam, line that up, line up that, and it all slides together. Let's get the rest of the chain brake in real quick, and then I'll go get my battery charger. All right, there's that. Wipe this little bugger down, and we should be just about done with that side of the saw. That ought to save me a little bit of time in here. Another little T20. This one wants to be stubborn with me, and I don't know why. There it is. Fully assembled chain brake assembly with the new flag. All right, I got a battery charger on now, so we can finish up. Let's get the choke lever in real quick. There we go. Like I said, I think for the moment I'm going to go back with that unless I see any other reason I shouldn't. There we go. All right, beautiful. Let's poke these little buggers back in. All right, side cover. Let's do the oil pump real quick. Yeah, I forgot to put the oil pump back in. Feel kind of silly, but it is what it is. I guess that's what happens when you get in a hurry, or you get to just kind of in a roll. Where it says top faces you whenever you drop it in. Another thing I do sometimes, I've heard this from other guys on YouTube, it works pretty good. Start your saw with your chain brake on. That way, whenever if you're worried about your clutch being tight enough, just give it a couple blips with the chain brake on, you're good. That's normally how I do it anyway. I'll start my saw with the chain brake on. I'll just reach down, hit the throttle, take it off a high idle. You're pretty well good after that. There it went. Here we go with the handle. All right, I'll be back in a minute with the spark plug, or sorry, not spark. I'll be back in a minute with the flywheel torque. All right, I found basically 33 Newton meters was what I found. There it went. That's my coil gap setter right there. Handy little tool. I'm missing one of the starter housing screws. It kind of came that way, so I'll see what I can find here in a bit. In case you didn't catch it earlier, this is not an impact. This is a screw gun. So whenever you hear that clicking noise, that's the clutch taking the pressure off before I over tighten something. So now I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna start this thing up, and I'll try and list a video of it actually cutting. I'm probably going to use the bar and chain off that other 291 to give it a test run, and I'll be doing one for that 251 as well. All right, talk to you later. Take it easy. Bye.